Here we
Oh,
go.
there we are. We're live. I'm glad they have that little thing up there that says you are live, because if that didn't come up, I wouldn't know that we are live.
no.
So welcome. This is How to Build Your Own Home with my wife, Melissa, myself, Keith, here every Thursday.
I need to fix a few things. You start talking.
Okay, she's going to fix a few things while we start talking. I want to reiterate
There we
one
go.
thing as we get going here, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions coming on board. And it has to do with one of the things that owner builders just have kind of a blind spot with is how big they should build. And this here is a problem I see a lot of the time. I've probably seen, since I've been doing this, maybe 5 years?
I don't know what you're talking
5
about.
years, 6 years, I can't remember. During that time, I've had several students that I would consult either for 1 hour or a full length consult. And I would see really, really fun homes that they wanted to build. And it was their dream home. It was their forever home, all that kind of stuff. And then they would end up not building. A lot of them would actually sell the lot with the plans, and they didn't lose anything, which is good because they were able to sell the whole kit and caboodle. And then they would come back maybe a year or two later. And I'm seeing this happen now with some owner builders coming back a year or two later and say, Keith, we're ready to start over and we're ready to rethink how we do these things. Okay. So I've had about half a dozen students that ran into that. Then they would come back to me and now they're rethinking the design, rethinking how they're approaching things. So I want to give a couple of things to think about. Okay. Your forever home doesn't have to have a massively cut up roof and a very difficult design. Okay. Too often, and this is the biggest mistake owner builders make, they pick a home from the street, not from within inside the living quarters of the home. That's the biggest mistake owner builders make. They want a home that looks a certain way from a street rather than feels a certain way inside the home. And whenever I build a home with clients, I never pick the elevation. I never pick the design. We never know what the outside is going to look like. We choose the floor plan first, okay? And then we work an outside elevation plan to fit with that floor plan, okay? That's probably the best thing you can do in starting. Now, when you pick a floor plan or you start designing a floor plan, that's where it starts to be a little, if you're smart, you can design that efficiently to accommodate all your needs and be an efficient home and a well-designed home. And so are you going to have 2 floors or 1 floor? Are you going to have a 2.5 floors or a full 3 floors? What's the difference between 3 complete floors or 2.5 floors? People don't know that there's a difference. Maybe you can explain the difference, sweetie. Want to explain?
You're talking about attic trusses on the half floor?
Uh-huh.
And then so you have the single floor. And then if you use attic trusses, what we love to do is use attic trusses is because it gives you space and you're going to have trusses anyway. So build that into usable space. And with that, you can do hills.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's called, right? Mm-hmm. Hills, where it bumps it up a little bit so you have more headroom. Mm-hmm. And so you can have 2 stories and then your trusses, which gives you that extra half. And you can add a hill to that. So it almost looks like there's 3 stories. But use attic trusses. It's smart.
One of the things that people don't know is that you have height restrictions in your building departments or in your HOA. And sometimes they will say you can go 2.5 stories, but you can't go 3 stories, meaning that they're going to force you with an attic truss configuration. And the reason why they do that is it cuts down on infiltration of views from other people. Or you might have a flat up 24 or 29 foot height restriction, and that's it. And as a result, you can't go a full 3 stories typically. You just can't. And so that's why there's other configurations in 2.5 stories. And plus, in some jurisdictions, 2.5 stories is a different tax than a full 3 stories. So what I'm getting at is that if you kind of know this stuff in advance and you think in advance as an owner builder, you're not going to run into it later. And one of the things I found out with owner builders is they go after their dream home, they go after their forever home, and then they run into things, actual real costs. I had some owner builders that designed this really, really long home, and it had I don't know what kind of roof design they call it. It's a roof design. It's cut like that, like a barn. And the roofing and sheeting and labor to do all that was costly. And, I warned them in advance. I said, this is going to be very costly. The waste on the sheeting is going to be insane. The labor on the framing is going to be very hard. The labor on the roof is going to be more difficult, and you're going to be limited on what you can do. And plus, you're going to have some possible leakage, on and on and on. And they found out that later, rather than me warning them in advance, and they didn't want to hear that. So listen carefully. When you do your first home as an owner builder, keep the design is really easily frameable, easily buildable. Don't make it complex, and don't cut up the house on the outside. That's the biggest no-no. And I've seen owner builders have crickets and dead valleys and all kinds of stuff on the roof, and then they run into problems down the road. And as a result, they end up not building because they see some costs that are hitting them upside the head. So let's continue. Let's take some questions here. I wanted to just reiterate that. I may bring it up later with some other stuff that will pop in my head, but that's the biggest thing I've seen. Having been on this for 5 years, students are coming back and restarting after they had to start and stop years ago. Now they're seeing the light and kind of going at it a different approach. Okay. So Sunshine, how to respond when a sub wants copies of other subs' bids so they can see how much they charge. That's a really good question. A lot of subcontractors would wish they could see where other subcontractors' bids are. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I actually thought of creating a technology where, let's say you need work done on your home, and you give a specification as the work that you want done and how many square feet, and you're really detailed, or you upload plans, or you upload some specification as to what you want. And then you get to see all these bids. But and then you can profit on the platform, because then you charge the other subcontractors a small fee to let them see all the bids. And by doing that, they would get better. I mean, they would get better at bidding. And I've seen bids come in through a text, and I go, it'd be nice if it was a full detailed bid. And they see, oh, that's my competition. They're up to snuff. They really know how to detail. They got their inclusions, their exclusions. They've got it all on there. And I just got this simple one-liner. And so it would actually make people better. And I wish there was more transparency. So to me, it's not a bad thing, to be honest with you. Okay. Done.
And then they could like nitpick it too. Yeah. Like, well, I do this and this and this. And then you could say, well, you could put that on there.
And then put it in your bid. Yeah. So. Good question though. Okay, Sunshine again. I want to break ground, do the foundation, but want to wait until spring for the rest. Suggestions? Yeah. If you break ground, don't get any compaction tests. Wait for the spring to do that. You can grub, you can get rid of it, somewhat level it, maybe do some compaction, but don't waste your time to get any compaction test, because the compaction test will be out of date within 6 months. So wait until that time occurs. So if you have a lot of wooded forest on your property, get rid of that. Spend a fall to do that. Or if you have a lot of grubbing, sagebrush, I don't, whatever it may be, get rid of all that and get it close to the level you need. But watch out for your geotech report. It could say 7 foot over X or 3 foot over X, or grub down to 12 inches, then over X 2 feet. I never know what your geotech report's going to go. Just go as far as you can until you have to recompact. It's when you recompact, you want to wait and do that in the spring. This next question is really good. So it's Michael. Glad you're here, Michael. Can we send our plans to you or post to the community for feedback on our blueprints? I think that's a great idea. And I'll go into Discord. I'll create another channel section and call it plans and see if we can get everybody to give feedback on plans. When you're in Discord, if you want everybody's attention, just do the @everyone and then ask your question like, hey, take a look, see what we might need to change. But brilliant idea, because the more eyes you get on there, the better things that you can find. There was one time when I was in high school, and my friend, their family was
remodeling their home. They were extending it and remodeling it. And so we were all looking at the house plans and look at it. And then we realized there's no bathroom in the master bedroom. I mean, the toilet area. And so it was good. Everybody was looking at it because the architect missed it. It was crazy. So, and then you get some really good ideas in Discord when everybody's looking at the eyes. You'll probably get some crazy ideas too, but take what you can.
And if you're
Yeah,
in Discord,
I'll do that.
help other people out. If somebody posts something, we all are helpful when we help each other out.
Yep.
And you'll find new people on there every couple of weeks. And some
Mhm.
people finish and they go and new people come in.
Mhm.
So it's that kind of a community. And then if you want, check out the 1 hour consult. I do that all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
help
I'll
people.
remember to do that.
Okay, Alex R. Hey, it's been a while since I've asked a
Hey,
question
Alex.
here. Will there be a market update video again soon? What's the builder sentiment for the last quarter of 2025? Yeah, I still have the third quarter one update, and we're going to update another one this fall. I'm going to tell you this right up front. Now is a really good time to build. Do not look at interest rates only. Okay. If you look at interest rates only, then you're not looking at the cost of materials. And what's happening with the cost of materials? They're flatlining and they're dropping. Lumber is 28%, almost 30% below its high in the COVID area. That's a huge savings. Now, if you're just looking at interest rates and not looking at labor costs and material costs, then you're making a big mistake. Throughout my career, I've always seen during down economies, that's always a better time to build than in a booming economy.
Well, and the interest rate right now is down. It was at 7.5% a year ago, and now it's at 6%. So go for it.
I just talked to a mortgage broker this morning, and he can get it at 5.25%. So you never know. Ask around. So don't let one thing dictate if you should build now or not. Look at other peripheral issues. Labor costs are flatlining, and they're not going up, even though there's inflation in other aspects. And then big items like concrete and lumber, they're all going down. So look at the whole picture, not just one digit. Okay, Doug in Utah, a friend is building a house. Electrician wants $70 for each ceiling light. Please review what you have said about what you now use. Do not do that. That's a bulky housing unit, and you're paying the electrician a huge amount of money to put in a bulky housing unit, and then the fixture and the light bulb, all of that. If he does a flush mount LED, each light, the J box is 89 cents or $1.25. It ranges in that price. And then you purchase the flush LED light, which has various tones. You can do a brighter light, more yellow light, more warm light, and you can change that. They're all dimmable, and they don't have that bulky housing. And there's a gasket on it to help with smoke and sealing off air and all that kind of stuff. And each one of those lights can range from $4 to $8 a piece. So this is something that people don't understand. Electricians charge a huge amount of money for those. And that's a recessed light. Yeah, if you want some recessed lights, you're going to pay for it. But if you don't need that recessed light, that directional light, you can get some nice flush mount LEDs that can do very close to the same thing. Or you go purchase the bulky housing unit and you pay them to put it in. But be careful, they still might want to charge you $20-$30 to put it in when I can put one in 5 minutes, and it doesn't take them. That's 2 hours of labor, to be honest with you. It doesn't need to be. Plus, it's not very good for air filtration. Air gets in it and it exits into the attic. Not good. Then if there's a fire, they're not really well fire rated. So again, fire can work its way up into the attic. Look at the flush mount LED lights. Okay.
Get back on the screen.
Okay. Yeah. I like that.
Okay. This is a 3-part question from Michael.
Okay, I'll let you read it. I don't have my glasses.
Okay. In California, it looks like I need a radiant barrier on the envelope of the building. And I need R19 plus R2, the R2 part being the continuous insulation product. Is there an all-in-one product to achieve this? And then he said he came across Seal Tech, and it shows it's 3 millimeters thick. A radiant barrier sold in 50-foot length and 48 wide rolls, and states it's R15. Could this be used as building wrap? And then one more. It doesn't say it's Oh, I can't say that word today. Sorry. Yeah, perforated. And I've read that a house wrap radiant barrier needs to be perforated. So if this is not, do I need furring strips?
The only reason why it would need to be perforated is because if you have a radiant barrier, it's aluminum product. So that's a constant perpetual seal over the entire home. And if it's not perforated, you don't have any vapor permeability through that paper. But I'm not a fan of, like I said, I like aluminum roofs, aluminum shingle roofs, because that is a radiant barrier on top of the roof, not underneath the sheeting, but on top of the roof. That's why I like, and it solves that whole problem. And you can go to the state of California and say, yeah, this is a full radiant barrier.
But he's talking about the exterior, not the roof.
I know,
right?
It's the full exterior. Roof is the exterior. On the insulation of the exterior, you can go with an R2, R3. There's other products that go as high as an R6 product. But I wouldn't put polyiso foam. Even if you are doing stucco, polyiso foam shrinks. And if there's a hot fire like there has been in California, that stuff will liquefy in place. And it's not a fire retardant, not one at all. I like the mineral wool products. Power Wool out of Canada this is the one I choose. You can go with the Cordings product, Rockwool products. You can go with all of them, but it's a rigid mineral wool, okay? And you can get it in 1 inch, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and 2.5 inches. Once you go beyond 1 inch, you have to flash all the windows because that insulation is coming past the window. If you don't flash the windows, you're going to run into a problem. But you can stucco on that. You can put a wire mesh on that, and stucco will adhere to that very nicely. So that's what they're going after, is that insulation. But I would stay away from the polyiso foam and look into the mineral wool products. Anything else on that list?
Oh, just what products to use. Do you have any other ideas? But you've already talked about that.
Yeah. Okay.
If we missed something, Michael, add it again.
But there is a product, a roofing product that has all in one, and it's got polyiso. And then it's got 1/2 inch of wafer board, and then it has an aluminum radiant barrier adhered to the bottom of that. And it's an all-in-one product. Go to your insulation supply houses and ask them about it, and they'll be able to give you that information. But when you put it down, it can't be too thick of insulation because the engineer won't sign off on it, because they want that nail to get as close to the stud work as possible. So don't go over, check with your engineer before you select any of that stuff. Okay.
Thanks, Peyton. Yeah. Thanks for reminding everybody to hit the like button.
Yeah, that's nice. JD IST Comp 1042. Hope I said that right. I'll let you read that. I can't read that.
Hi, I have a final inspection on Tuesday for ADU garage conversion. What do they look for?
Okay, they're gonna check if you have any power, like a GFI. They're gonna test the GFI with the GFI tester. If you have a door that's going from the ADU to the main part of the house, that's gonna have to be a automatic close. You go from a garage to a house, that's gonna be an automatic close. They'll test all the water. They'll test the heating system. They'll test the water system. They'll make sure that the hot water is on the right side of the faucet. They'll check things like that. Then they're going to mostly check outside. They're going to look at your grade to see if you're properly sloped and graded. If you have any downspouts, where's the water being taken to? Stuff like that. They'll look at a lot of stuff, and they'll make sure that nothing's not done. Like if you have an electrical box where there's electrical wiring coming out, they'll say you need to make that up. So if a final inspection looks at your HVAC, your mechanical, electrical, all that, and then they've already passed the framing and all that rough work before, and the nail patterns and the drywall, they've already passed all that. They're just looking at the finish side of things, especially the finish mechanical and then the exterior grading, okay, for the most part. And then if you adhere to the specifications on exterior elevations, oh, this is stuck on here, and you said you were doing hardy board. What's up with that? You want to make sure you follow through with what you said you were going to do. Okay.
I like this name.
Havasu on the lake.
Yeah.
On the lake. Looks cool. Your thoughts on pre-manufactured tip exterior walls, 2 to 3 times stronger, faster, and more energy efficient than stick walls. Do you have a video where you have used them? I have not done that. I have not used them. I've stayed away from them because I don't like polyiso foam. I'm sorry, I don't like it. And so I'm not certain that it's totally as strong as a regular wall. But the key is labor. The key is finding people who can work with it. Electricians don't like it because it's really hard to fish like the electrical through it. So if you have somebody who has worked with it on the plumbing side, the HVAC side, and the electrical side, that's not bad. And then if you do hire people, the manufacturer who comes out and install them, that's great too. But in a fire, which I just recently experienced, that wall system would not have held up at all. So I went and did 2x6 construction, insulated the wall, then I put 2 inches of mineral wool, rigid mineral wool on the outside, and that really is what helped save this home that I'm currently in right now. So it's really a matter of, can I find people that can put it together? That's really what it's all about. And if you can find people to put it together, then great. And if the price is working out and the value is great for you, then go ahead and move forward with that. So.
And we literally were in a fire. The firefighters said there were 100-foot flames on our home, and that our home saved
2
homes from burning down because ours was built almost fireproof.
Yeah, you can see that fire right there. The trees all burned down. So
it used to be all forest.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, back to Michael.
Okay. Recessing lights. So using the puck lights, we still toss J-box up in there. No, yes and no. It depends on the puck lights. There's some bulky housing puck lights I'd stay away from. I'd look at other lights that can use a regular 3-inch J-box, a rectangular one or a round one. The round one is, I think it's 3 or 4 inches in diameter. And the round ones are probably the easiest to find because some of those lights have a transformer in them and you have to fit that transformer up into the light structure. The newer LED lights have the transformer built into the light fixture itself. So I've seen this technology come a long way. When we first had LED lights, you had this bulky transformer. You had to stuff up into the J-box. Then you put the light on top of that. Now they've got really efficient. It's all built into one unit. But again, don't use the small rectangular J-boxes. Use a larger circular J-box, and it will have all the room to fit everything you have inside there.
I don't want you to get off the screen. There we go. Okay.
Michael, regarding walls specifically, so 2x6 construction needing R20, R2 continuous insulation. Sounds like I can get that with 1 inch. You can. And how does that affect trimming the exterior windows, doors, or other product? It won't affect it at all. Why? Most window manufacturers build for stucco. Stucco is the #1 siding attachment for just about 80% of the homes that are out there. That stucco is about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, roughly. If you are using polyiso foam in an arid, dry climates like we are in Arizona, then that's going to come out to the very close edge of that window, almost flush. It will come flush after the gray coat, wire, and finish coat are applied. It will come out flush. But the minute you use something thicker than 1 inch, okay, it's going to come past it. That's where you have to start to accommodate with flashing or other means for that window. But as long as you stay within that 1 inch and then hardy board, backer board, whatever it might be, sliding, that all comes to within that 1 inch as well. So it's really flush with the window. Okay. But you can get R2 close to R3 with some products with a continuous insulation. Yeah. Michael, where does the building envelope radiant barrier get placed on walls? Studs, OSB, house wrap, continuous insulation, radiant barrier, hardy. Mostly on the ceiling, on the roof. That's where the radiant barrier is most efficient. And then if you do...
What is this on the walls?
Heat rises, okay? All right. And the only efficiency of a radiant barrier on the wall is if it got so hot inside, it's coming up against the wall, it's going up to the ceiling, but it can't go anywhere. Then it's going to work its way into the wall structure. And then you've got a radiant barrier to keep that heat inside. You can put it on the walls. I've never done that. I've only done it on the ceiling.
I think he was saying in California, they were saying, so back up to here, he says in California, it looks like I need a radiant barrier on the envelope of the building.
Check them again. It's on the roof, not the envelope. I've never seen anyone request it on the envelope. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But
well, maybe with the fires, it just
most
happened.
radiant barriers are under the deck of the roof, under the deck of something, not on the actual wall structure. But check with that code and double check on that and ask them. Okay. Okay, where are we here? Venom Bunny. Would you recommend using power wool and hardy plank with fiberglass inside the walls for cost savings? Rockwell bid was 3 times the cost of fiberglass. Yes, do the blow-in fiberglass inside the wall structure, and then do the power wall behind the hardy plank on the outside of the home. It's phenomenal. To me, that's your best design structure, other than maybe a fast wall, which is really pricey, but fast walls really superior to that. But for affordability, that's the best route to go.
Okay, that's it for now.
I love power wool. I love anything rigid mineral wool. All right. And you can get mineral wool in R30 bats, really thick like that. You can get mineral wool that goes in a 2x4 stud for sound tech problem, or sound teching, soundproofing. And you can get it for the exterior envelope of the home. I'm waiting someday. They're going to take OSB. They're going to apply it right to mineral wool. And I just put it all up. Boom, done. But that they haven't designed that yet. So
Would that be hard to cut through?
Not really. You just get a saw and cut through it. The mineral wool you can cut with a bladed knife or a serrated knife. Bread knife.
He uses my bread knife.
Yeah, you can cut that with a bread knife. It just get one that's just go to a DI or some secondhand place and get
thrift store
to get a serrated knife, and you can cut all that stuff very easy with that. Not the fiberglass. You need a really sharp knife for that. But just get a serrated knife. You can cut just about anything with that. It's really easy, really efficient.
Yeah, I want to know how many women are in here and their husbands use their kitchen utensils as their extended tool shop. Let me know, please, in the comment. I want to know.
I want to know how many women go into the husband's workshop and take something and they don't replace it.
What? Never. That never happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what Michael says.
Okay. Pella 250 versus Milgard Trinsic. Any preferences? Pella has a lot of good local regional support that you can call on. They have a really good sales rep and customer service locally, especially with the higher grade window you get. Then that automatically kicks in them helping you. I've built some homes where I called the service tech for Pella. They came all the way up the mountain, fixed it, they were done. That's great about Pella. Milgard is more of a builder grade. They do have some higher end stuff, Milgard, but they don't have the sales and service support that Pella does. Pella has a huge range of windows. They've got builder grade you can buy at Lowe's, and they've got this high end stuff that they can put in some very expensive homes, stuff like that. And so they've got the market really, really covered. And so as a result, they can afford some of these regional sales and service reps in the area. And that's why I've used Pella quite a bit on homes. I've also used I've put in just about every window you can imagine. But Pella is probably the best service techs that are out there. Okay, good question. Peyton, any tricks to get a good deal on land? I'm going to let my wife say answer that.
I wish there was some. It's just a lot of research. Every seller is different, right? Some just, we have it. Well, if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, and then other people maybe not have paid their taxes and don't have money for the taxes, and they got to sell ASAP. So each one is individual, and you just gotta sift through it. Find the ones you like, pursue them, see how eager they are to sell, and then give a price. Right now, it's a buyer's market. The market's flipped.
Right.
And one thing that I never thought, there's an area that usually you can get better deals in. And right now it's flipped. You can get better deals in St. George than you can in Cedar City actually right now, because they haven't realized the market's changed.
Markets are changing.
So buyers, so I would go in and ask for a lower amount. Yeah.
Wait till January. In the dead of winter, it's actually
yes.
a very good time.
Yes. In fact, December and January, it usually quiets down and everything, but my investors and people that need to use their money by the end of the year, that's when they get really good deals. In January, those people that need to sell, they're desperate. So January is really good too. Those are, at least in my market, December and January are the best.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on a piece of land I want, and I'm waiting until the winter. If I have some money, then I would make some sort of an offer, but not in the heat, like in the springtime.
Yeah, spring is the hottest season.
Yeah, people are breaking ground, selling. The market's a little hot.
Yeah.
July and August are slow times, and then again, don't look in the fall. The dead of winter is a really good time, especially at the holidays. And somebody made a comment, go up there earlier, says this one here, right there, to buy land. David, right there.
Oh.
To buy land, this one made a comment. Do it right before college students have to pay for school. Their parents are selling land they want to use to pay for college.
Good one,
I did
David.
that. So I just,
I
saw that in the corner of my eye.
Thanks.
So just be wary and look at the opportunity for owner builder, owner sellers, people that might have land that they didn't sell it before, and it might come back on the market again.
And that's another good question. Taxes are always due in November. So September, October might be good because they need September, the tax notices go out. October, they're trying to scramble to get money. November, it has to be paid. So that's another good one.
Yeah, good question.
Great. Thanks, David.
Next one. Okay, David, how does a framer build a top plate to be level when the foundation concrete slab isn't flat enough? Really good question. If that foundation dives down and it's a 2 or foot length adjustment, they will have to shim it down below. But if it's just a little divot like this, the bottom plate can go right over that, and it shouldn't be too much of a problem. It can handle a certain amount of compression. But the other thing you can do is put additional layers of seal sill, which is that foam roll that you can put that down there a little bit, or you just thin set it. There's a lot of things I've seen people do to level it out as best you can, but you got those J bolts in the way. So that you can shim it, additional seal sill, or the other thing they can do is they can actually adjust the studs just a little bit if they need to. Again, I don't know how much of a distance it drops down. If it's 2 or 3 feet, then of course you might have to make a shorter, longer studs and let it compress down. And so it's level at the top, but at the bottom, it might not be level. Yeah, it's a tricky situation. And the other thing is possibly grinding down. If it's high in one spot, that's easy to grind down. But if it's low in a large spot, there's a lot of shimming and filler and all kinds of stuff you have to do to make that work. So.
Hannah got my joke.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Vincent, VV, that's from the word, the movie Vendetta. He has this huge long monologue, V, veracity and free. So it reminds me of that. Watch that afterwards, like 39 or 100 words. They're all with the word V. That's pretty cool. I have one flat roof with very little insulation between the top roof membrane and the roof deck. I'm scheduled for 8 inches of closed cell foam in the ceiling under the roof deck. Other options, do the closed cell foam. I'm going to do a video. Give me my phone over there. Yeah, all the way over there. I'm going to do a video on a home I did, and we ran into a problem. And it's very rare that you run into that problem, but I had to actually put in some closed cell foam. into an attic situation in a home. And if I didn't do it, I wouldn't have had the R value that I needed for that home. And I'll show you that picture, right? All these pictures that are here coming up. My daughter sent me a bunch of pictures of her
In the
granddaughter.
meantime, we want to welcome Brady. Made it. Hey, Brady. Oh, there you are. Brady made it. We're glad you're here. Did you find it?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But if it's so narrow like that, I can't get the R30, R39 variable based upon your weather area. I couldn't get it in there with regular blow-in or bats. So I had to do some closed cell insulation. So I'll have to do a video on it. Just watch it come out here a couple weeks. Michael, when doing cement board, hardy board and batten, do I need some type of blocking for exterior light fixtures, cameras, etc.? Like if you had a light fixture outside your front door, it depends on where those bats come. Board and the bats are the net or the vertical things that are going up, and sometimes they can run right into where a light could go. So you can if that's the case, then you use additional trim to trim out that light, and then you put that trim right over the board part. So talk with your installers and you tell them, I would like to trim that out. It raises it a little bit. What it does is it pushes the light out just a little bit, and it sits right on that piece of trim. So it's not bad. It looks okay. So you may need that, or it might just fit perfectly on the board part. So I don't know. I'd have to look at the house and see, oh, we'll have to trim that out. It will look better. Or no, it'll fit just fine on the board. So I don't know. You'll have to see when it comes to that. And the quick thing on that, if you have the circle J boxes, it's much easier for guys to have a bit drill to drill that out perfectly. If you have a J box that's rectangular, you know how hard that is to drill out? It's hard. So that's why those circular J boxes are a lot better to use on the outside. Okay. Eduardo, I'll let you read that.
What kind of insulation do you recommend? I saw a recent video. You said you don't like spray foam. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't like it. There's a couple of insulations I don't like. Is any wet applied insulation on the inside. They still do it out there in the market. It shrinks over time. It's like this product that's wet. It goes in liquid and it's nice. But when it dries, it shrinks, and you don't want that. I don't like to use the newspaper stuff anymore. It's just newspaper that's treated with material, so it's fireproof. That also settles. They don't manufacture that as much anymore, mainly because newspapers aren't in print as much anymore. So that's come and gone. I like net and blow with fiberglass is really, really good. I like any mineral wool product. Some of them are hard to get to install. Some of them are easy to install. There are some products that are other blow-in products that are good. I don't care for any polyiso unless I have to absolutely need it. I know it has some value to it, but when you deal with fires like I've done, I'm very averse to that product unless it's isolated for a specific purpose. But net and blow fiberglass and then mineral wool, those are my two favorite. Or a combination of the two. Victor, I'm happy I found your channel. Unfortunately, I found you after I purchased my land. I'm hoping to begin building my home in spring of 2026. What are crucial steps I should take first? Let us know where you're coming from, where you're building, the state and region. That kind of helps me identify with that. Like if you were in the Midwest, I'd be talking really differently to you. If you were in the mountain range, I'd be talking differently to you. If you're on the coast, I'd be talking to you very differently. So I don't know where you're building, but I would start with a geotech report, finding out what it tells you, what you need to do to the soils. If you do need to do anything or nothing at all, that's going to really be a good start. Take the first steps course at how to build your own home. That's going to help you identify cost per square foot in your particular area, especially with the modules and formulas I have in that course. And then jump right into the self-managed course. It's really going to point you in the right direction. Okay. I have not had any complaints with the program in all these years, and I keep making it better.
We had a student that went to a 4-year degree, got his 4-year degree in construction management, then took our course. And he said he learned more from Keith's course than he did in 4 years. So, and Keith used to be a teacher, instructor. So we both were. We were both educators.
Yeah.
And left education. But now we're back in it with you guys.
Yep.
We love it. We love teaching.
We like teaching to hundreds of students online. Okay. Colosso, is that right? Colosso? Plumber screwed the prefab tubes to the stud before my installation crew was scheduled for the pre-bat. Is that right? Prefab tubes. Yes, that's fine, but I don't know what you mean by prefab tubes. Oh, tubs. That's tubs. Yeah, that's fine. They need to do that, and they can just put the installation behind there. That's going to be fine. And they did that because they need to get it level. So if the insulator takes it off, guess what? The insulator is responsible for that tub not being properly level. So yeah, that's fine that they can get behind that to insulate it. And then you can put your what is it called? It's the drywall for inside a shower.
The hardy bath?
No, it's not the hardy board. I just came to my brain and I lost it. But it's the green, it's the kind of a gray board, mold proof board that you put in the drywall, and that just comes right over the top of that. And all your insulation is net and blow behind that, or bats, whatever way, it's fine. Michael Trunkel, just as I'm at that, as I'm thinking, if you're in a cold climate and you put a tub right up against the exterior wall, or the tub itself is got water on the exterior wall, and if you don't insulate that, it can get cold and freeze that pipe. So never face your tubs in a cold environment where the actual water you turn it on is on the exterior wall. Bring that into an interior wall, or you could have some serious problems. I built homes up north. They were all freezing on the north side of the house, and they had all kitchens where the kitchen sink was right up against that cold north wall. That plumbing went right outside that wall and it froze. We had to go down. It was a nasty thing to fix. They could have easily fixed that. They were slab on grade by bringing the water right up through the grade, but they came right up through the exterior wall. Keep that stuff away from that exterior wall, especially in your colder climates. Okay. Okay. Michael, if you don't like spray foam, how do you seal around windows and doors? That's fine. You can still use that. That's minor. That's nominal. And every insulation company uses that closed cell foam around those. I have no problem with that. All my insulators use that. It's not a problem. If you don't like that, you can use Baccarat. Baccarat is that tubular foam that you can stuff in there, and it doesn't make any mess. And you can get it in 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch. You can get it in all kinds of dimensions, and the painter can caulk that really, really nicely. So, and I've used that on a few homes here and there because the gap was just a little bit too much, or the gap was needed because it changed a little bit. So yeah, you can use that too. It's not a problem.
This is a good one from David.
I'll let you read that one.
Okay. David B. I'm surprised they haven't switched to cardboard over newspaper. This is the insulation stuff. Amazon alone could probably insulate every house in the US with used cardboard boxes.
Yeah. I think the reason why is because they have to shave it down to such a level that it can blow it through. Newspaper is easy to just shred up. And I think they could shred that cardboard up pretty nicely. Mm-hmm. But the other problem is the cardboard has all the tape and the glue and staples and all kinds of stuff that might make it really difficult to, get inside the home. And then they have to treat it with a product to make it fire retardant. Mm-hmm. And it's that chemical thing that you have to put on stuff to make it work. And a lot of people didn't like that because it had an off-gassingness to it, and that was affecting the health of people inside their homes. So it's a hard sell. You have to overcome a couple of hurdles. So
okay, there you go, Vincent.
Moisture can pass through mineral wool, which can condense on the other side of the flat roof. Alternatives. It's not going to condense on the flat side of the roof.
Oh, he's in Washington.
You're going to have a sufficient air movement through that mineral wool, even in your environment. If you have some vented inside your attic, the venting alone will keep it from condensing. The only way water can condense, there's no air movement. That's why I don't like polyiso foam underneath the deck of a roof, is because if water gets inside there, it's going to puddle right up against that closed cell foam, and you're not going to see the damage it's going to do until it's too late. With mineral wool, it's vapor permeable. Okay, so it can actually, let's say there's air movement in the attic. Okay, and yet there's, for some reason, moisture on the other side of that mineral wool, and then you got your roof deck and roof product and all that. Well, if there's air moving against that mineral wool, that dryness of the mineral wool is going to pull away from the condensed water on the other side of that. So water follows the path of dryness. So if you've ever been in the desert and you take a bucket and you put it in the sand, it soaks it up. But if there's a rainstorm, heavy rainstorm, and it's already wet, it won't percolate into the ground as fast. And that's the benefit of something that's vapor permeable. Air movement can work across it, and it will pull out that moisture from deep inside there. That's why, again, I don't like polyiso, because air movement can move against one side, but it's not going to pull the moisture through to help dry off the whole structure. So that's, again, the best explanation I can give you as to why I don't like polyiso. I like fiberglass and mineral products. Those are the two I use the most for my insulation. Okay, good question.
Green board for the behind the shower.
Yeah, that's green. It's also called something. Oh, I lost it again in my brain.
Sorry. Okay.
So.
Okay. For final inspection, this is JDI at ST Comps 1042. Glad you're here. For final inspection, will they fail you if there are no rain gutters?
It depends.
Yeah.
You need to ask your permitting office. If you do have rain gutters, they're going to say, where are you going to control the downspout? Where's the water going to go? If you don't have rain gutters, they don't say anything. It's distributed all along the side of the house. You're going to splatter dirt and stuff up against your home. But talk with your permitting office. If you put them in, then they're going to say, where's the water going to be taken to? If it's not put on, then it's just going to percolate right against the home. If you've got expandable soils and collapsible soils, that's something you don't want to do. You want to get that water away from the home.
Yeah.
Okay. Check with your permitting office.
Sunshine.
Recommend
your course that saved us with the forms, Stress Saver.
Very
Thanks,
good.
Sunshine.
I'm glad.
Okay. Doug, can you talk? Is it asking too much for an excavator to dig the footing accurately enough so that footing boards are not needed? Soil would allow it 36 inches deep.
You can't ask that as the excavator unless the soil can handle it. If you've got sandy soil, sorry, he can wet it down, make it look nice, dig it so it looks nice. But the minute it dries, it's going to slough into the footing. So I've had a lot of. I'm working with another a contractor right now, and some construction contractors in concrete love to form everything no matter what, because they can control the actual cost of concrete and how much concrete they're going to use. Others will just dig it in the soil. But again, if you have an excavator and he's got a 22-inch bucket and you're a 36-inch bucket or a 28-inch bucket and your footings need to be 24 inches, guess what? He's made a footing too big and you're going to pay extra money for that footing because it has to be 10 inches or whatever high, thick anyway. So that's something I've wrestled with. I've done a lot of in the ground footings. I haven't had too much of a problem with that, but I've also done some that are formed up, but only because I was able to get the elevations I need. It depends on where the elevation of the home is. Like, I'll give you a simple story. This is a really good lesson. I was down the street building a home, and we were setting the grade, and we already had a sewer septic in, so I had to be above that, but I needed a certain amount of play, and I didn't know if I should go 3 or 5 or 6 inches because I need that play in there so that I have sufficient flow and drainage for the sewer. So the next thing I did, I said, okay, let's go shoot grade out on the street. What's the elevation of the street? And what's the elevation of the top of the main floor? Okay, what's the difference in feet? And it came out to about 2 feet and 10 inches, 2 feet 10. I go, okay, over about a 60-foot distance, That's going to be my slope. I said, we're good. That's fine. But if it was going to be like 4 or 5 feet, then that house was going to be sticking out too high. My grade was going to be nuts. Can we drop that a little bit? That would have helped. But it came out just fine. And so that's why you say excavators, you need to work with your concrete guy and help him, ask him to help you shoot grade to find the elevation of everything and make sure you have proper slope for drainage and add up all those things. Just don't let them go in there willy-nilly and do something if that excavator is not experienced. Make sure you get your concrete guy on board, and then make sure you get your plumber. I had all 3 of them there at the same time at the job site. We all discussed, came to conclusion, boom, we hit the grade. But don't assume your excavator is going to be able to do that all by himself. They won't figure that out. They'll just shoot it where they think it should be and all's done. So, good question.
Brady had a good comment.
Okay, Brady. Vincent Venora, you can use a smart vapor retarder on the ceiling before drywall to control moisture. You can. You can. Yeah. David B. So I used ChatGPT and told it my location, the thickness of and R value of the insulation, and it can show you the calculations it made to figure out if water will condense in your construction. Yeah, especially in your particular area. I'm kind of in the dry climate, and so I get away with bloody murder as a builder. Those who build in humid environments, especially along the coast, it's a really different story. And if you go into my building science course, I talk a little bit about that. And I've actually had posts where I did a post. It was down in Newport, California, Newport Beach. And I actually showed all the damage that occurred to homes because they didn't think about moisture. Every night, moisture lands on those homes, every single night, and does a number on those homes. And I showed all the damage, the termite damage, you name it. So where you build, your climate really dictates how you build. Know your area, talk to your local building officials, and they will actually guide you appropriately. And especially if those that are a little older with a lot of experience. Okay, good question.
Okay, two-part.
DMTT.
No, DW.
DW. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read that. I'll let you read
EXJW.
that one.
Okay, hello. Is poly, I think this is misspelled, poly fresco G, a good choice for my flat roof in Southern California? Also, I created a double roof, one which is 100% flat and another roof on top which has a slight pitch of 1/4 12. Any
inches.
problem with this?
No, that 1/4 inch per 12, which is 12 inches or a foot, I'm thinking you're going to do. That's about the least that you can get away with if you're going to walk on it a lot. If you're not going to walk on it a lot, I would go with the steeper pitch to help shed that off a little better. And then it's what you do to the edge of the roof that really determines. If you put a drip edge on there, that drip edge is going to be like 1/8 or 2/8 of an inch higher, and water is going to puddle right to it. But if you put it a little steeper, it helps shed that water off a little better.
I think it's already done. He says I
Yeah.
also, okay.
Okay.
It's already done, so what can I do there?
And I don't know what polyfresco G is. I'd have to look up that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd have to look up polyfresco G. You can go to the next one.
Okay. Michael, do you spray anything on the wood after walls are put up before sheathing to protect against pests, termites, bugs, rodents? Well, the bug guy, the termite guy, they usually shoot in the ground, don't they?
Yeah, you can do, but the typical length on that is between 5 and 7 years, which is a bug retardant you put on the foundation before you pour your concrete.
Wait, the foundation before you pour your concrete.
Yeah, they put it on the dirt before they even pour it on
Okay.
the concrete on there. For the one big issue is the rodents. All right, bugs and termites you can treat. The rodents I've seen, they can come up through some of that. And so I've seen in some areas they put a screen mesh around all of the pipes and all of the vents and everything that might be in the ground. That way they can't come up through those particular areas. And there's some products you can get online for that. But I don't treat the wood after the walls are up. You can do it in some parts of the country. it's just going to be a little costly, a little more money, and you have to make sure that's not going to have any off-gassing for your health. You want to stay away from that. But I actually do a sealant product on the bottom of my foundations. And if you've seen some of my videos, I talk about that product. And that product actually helps you seal up the transition between your foundation, concrete, and your wood structure. That's your weakest spot. And if you can go 6 inches below and 6 or 12 inches above and seal that whole area off, that's the most accessible for bugs and termites and all that kind of stuff.
Rodents.
So if you can seal that off, all the better for you. Polyfresco, by the way, is a premium attic, Attack-It propylene granulated cap sheet for use in low slope roofing. It's really a hot applied product, if I'm correct. They hot apply it. So they roll it out and it's got the granular, it's like a big sheet of asphalt shingle, but it comes out in a roll. And then you have to heat apply it. So you have a torch as you're unrolling it and you torch it and you apply it. You can get some TPO product that would be better than that. Don't get that on there because that grit's going to build up at the edge of the roof, especially on a low slope roof. Look into TPO. It's a solid membrane applied product.
Yeah,
and then it goes down with the glue that you can do yourself. And that is a white product or a tan product, and it can refract the light in the atmosphere a lot better than that asphalt shingle stuff. Stay away from that. Okay, good question. I just didn't know the name. I knew what it was, but I never knew the actual name of it. So,
okay, Len Stanley, what's your opinion on spray foam in a detached, heated, radiant floor heating garage, including rafters, in a cold climate? Would there be any moisture issues?
Detached, heated, radiant, in a cold climate, would there be any moisture issues? Rafters, there could be. Depends on how well your roof is built and how it's done. Again, I'm not a fan of polyiso foam, spray foam. I don't feel bad about the rigid foam boards that you can put up in an attic because it's not a complete seal, but it still has the R value factor. So if you wanted to do that, put the rigid 2-inch polyiso right underneath the rafters, and you can affix that by all different means. I don't feel bad about that, but because if there is any moisture between that, it's got a way to go. It has some air, a little bit of air movement behind that. And again, I'm an air movement guy. So if I can create more air movement, I can preserve the life of that home better than if I try to seal it up perfectly. Okay. Okay, Michael, we are planning to use a few awning style windows high on the wall above 8 feet. What's the best way to be able to operate them?
Remote, right? I'm not sure.
Are you talking about transom windows?
Awning style windows.
Push out this way or push out this way. Okay. I don't like a window that pushes out this way because your whole body literally has to move to get it out there. But a transom window just opens up like that, just like that. And I like transom windows myself.
But those are always crank, aren't they? So
crank are not bad. I like
but
crank.
It's 8 foot above 8 feet.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah, I don't know.
Above 8 feet. That's high on the wall. We're talking about some windows that are high up.
They're push out, but via crank.
Yeah, crank's not bad as long as you can reach it.
You would have to get a ladder to get up there and crank them.
Yeah. As long as you don't mind that, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
10-foot walls.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
It's a good question. I'd
like to see.
I think some people like that for the air movement in a home.
Do you even need them to open if they're up that high? Can you just have picture windows?
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, maybe there's electric. Maybe there are remote ones.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
There might be remote ones.
I know they do those in showers because they want to move some of the moisture in a shower. But that's kind of high up, 8 feet high.
Yeah. If they're cranked, just get the picture windows. Okay. There we go.
Sunshine. Where do I find the information for consulting price for students? Just go to the courses page. How to build your own home. Go to the courses and down. If you scroll down, you'll see the consulting there. There's a couple of options. I do 1 hour consulting, and then I just picked up a client I'm helping. Really, really neat people in, I think it's New Jersey, back in New Jersey. I'm hoping to help them out. They got really in a bad situation by a bad builder. So, but yeah, it's all there. Just check it out. David Parker is still deliberating whether I should attempt contracting a home when it is time. How much time you have? Take that first steps course. If you take the first steps course, I go through all of the things to consider, all the things you're going to have to face. What's the time constraint, the time crunch, all of that. I talk about all of that. And plus there's some exercises that I make you go through. And then it's all downloadable. It's all video and it's all downloadable. So take that first steps course. It's not that much. It's $47. You can do that. And then there's a discount code at the bottom. Don't forget that. A lot of students forget there's a coupon code at the bottom of that. Only in the last module. Okay. Okay.
For the self-managed.
For the self-managed course.
Okay, here we go.
That was my excavator.
Oh, so, wait. Oh, I'll have to come back to you, David. Okay.
Hit that right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Any wisdom for sourcing and delivering large steel I-beams? Our engineer spec'd a 21 wide 68 at 35 foot long for a garage ridge.
Local beam yard, local manufacturing yard. And I've dealt with beams that long. In fact, I got one coming on a job. So you want to talk with metal yards, metal fabricators, not so much an iron worker, but a metal fabricator. And just look up metal fabricators for construction in your area. And you'll find some. And again, tell us where you're coming from, because if you're in the Intermountain West, I can send you some people to go to. So always tell us where you're coming from, and then I can give you some heads up on where you might want to go. Okay. Good question. David B. How to build your own home. I would like to see a few videos about building codes. Some places use the national code, and that thing has so much stuff not application, like roof load. Correct. A lot of building areas are not sophisticated, and so they just adopt that code without really knowing what they're doing. Others just add all their own weird stuff on it that has no relationship to the National Building Code. So you really need to follow the local building area. But yeah, building codes are, and to be honest with you, you can type into any search engine today and you can ask, what's the building code for handrails for going up a step? And it's going to cite you to the exact source of that building code. And it will say the IRC or the national code. It will give you one of those. And it will say, okay, that's what it is. What's the code for handrails on a deck? All right, vertical, horizontal, how far apart, etc. It will give you a direct reference to the International Building Code. So you're lucky. You don't have to hunt through a book, try to find a code, and is it out of date or not out of date? It's much easier to find stuff now than it ever has been. And you'll find those resources. So don't feel like, and that's maybe I should talk about that. And I can show people live how they can actually use some AI tools and even some regular search engines for that. Okay, good question.
So he's in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, okay.
With the beams still being.
Yeah, you're going to be close to a lot of beam manufacturers and metal yards. You shouldn't be a hard time following that. In fact, you're very close to where a lot of that stuff used to be manufactured. I don't know if it's manufactured there now, but just do some research and you'll find it. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Anything else? Okay, we're good. We're going to go make some dinner. We'll be here next.
Oh, no. We won't be here next week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're traveling. So we're just traveling. We won't be here next Thursday, but we'll be here the next week. So save your questions. And if you can't be at live chat, go to contact the instructor at How to Build Your Own Home. Send in your question that way. We'll save them and we can respond to them that way. The best way to do that. But like and subscribe, and we appreciate you guys all. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Okay, see ya.
Thanks.